Hey guys, Kelsey here, your best friend on the homestead from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com. I'm down in the garden. It's the end of the season. Basically, all that's left is this kale behind me that the ducks, at least some of it, they haven't eaten up here up top. But another great thing you can get from the garden, especially in the fall, is Brussels sprouts. And actually, interestingly, it's Brussels sprouts. I've spent my entire life thinking it was Brussels sprouts with no S. It's Brussels. I had more Brussels sprouts than I was going to be able to eat on my own. My husband doesn't like them. My kids don't like them. So I decided to ferment them. So I'm going to teach you in this video how to ferment Brussels sprouts. It's very simple. I'm going to teach you a hot smoky method, which is so delicious, especially on stir fries. Or if you want, I'll teach you kind of the modified version so you can just ferment them with a little bit of salt. So to start, you're just going to need a regular sized mason jar, just a standard quart jar, and then we are going to add 1 tablespoon of peppercorns to the jar. And I do use another mason jar as well because I had just a little more sprouts than I could fit in here. Just you'll see that in a little bit. Next to that, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of chili pepper flakes. Then we're going to prep our jalapenos. You don't have to put jalapenos in this if you don't want to, and you can put the seeds in or not put the seeds in. That's all going to affect the heat. I used 3 jalapenos for this recipe. I left the seeds in, and I'm Midwestern. I'm from Minnesota. I found that it wasn't too terribly spicy. It was just kind of pleasant. So either take the seeds out or leave the seeds in and prep your jalapenos anywhere between 1 and 3. Now we are going to get these all prepped here. I already washed them, our Brussels sprouts, and then we trim off the ends and then slice them in half. You definitely want to slice them in half for them to ferment properly. And then you just want to kind of trim them up, clean them up a little bit. This one, and I ended up just kind of slicing that off because it went pretty deep, but anything that looks funky, get rid of it. Next, we are going to prep our garlic. You want 4 to 5 cloves of garlic. I had some monster cloves here of garlic. So instead of doing 4 to 5, I just did 3. And so these you're just going to want to peel them, and then you're going to want to get them in some nice slices here. So nothing too complicated. Just get all this stuff prepped. It just takes a few minutes. So then we're going to add this to the jar. If you want, you can kind of layer it into the jar, or you can just kind of put some of it on top here. And I was, watching kids doing this at the same time filming. So I ended up just kind of stuffing things in the top. And again, like I said, I had more than I had space for in the jar once you add in the extra stuff. So 1 pound of Brussels sprouts is what we're putting in here. And I found that 1 pound did a quart jar. And then in addition to that, a pint jar. So you're just going to have all that stuff prepped, cut, put it in your jar, and then you are going to make the brine. And so here I have 2 tablespoons of a sea salt, a smoked sea salt, and 2 tablespoons of just a standard kosher salt. If you don't want to use any of the other ingredients, you just want a standard Brussels sprout, like fermented Brussels sprout, just use 4 tablespoons of like kosher salt. You can use the fancy stuff if you want, you don't have to. Now I just put this into a 1/2 gallon size mason jar, and make sure you use a 2-piece lid, just some kind of room temperature water, and shake it up. And we're going to pour that over top here until we have about 1 inch of headspace over top of all of our veggies in here. And then I like to use these little pickle pebbles. You just set them on top, and they're nice little weights that you can get. I'll link to those in the description box if you want to grab some for yourself. You can use a clean rock if you want, but these are really handy. And these are little pickle pipes you put on top that allow the fermentation gases out, but don't let other stuff in. My 4-year-old, she really wanted to help, so you'll see some little hands in here. So then after you get them all covered, if you don't have a pickle pipe or anything, you can just fill it up, make sure everything's weighed down and stays underneath the liquid, and then you can just do like a paper towel with a rubber band around it, or just put the ring around the paper towel. You're just trying to let the gases out and prevent other stuff from getting in there, especially stuff like fruit flies. Now, from there, we are going to be putting these onto a plate as soon as Louisa and I get this all sealed up here, and we are going to let these sit for around 1 to 2 weeks. You're going to see some bubbling start in the jar. You're going to see some color changing in the jar. It's also going to smell a lot. They're definitely a stinkier ferment, I noticed. You want to set them on a plate like this just in case they do bubble up and over, they don't make a big mess. And then just store them somewhere that isn't right in direct sunlight, but somewhere you're still going to see them. So just kind of on a nice, cupboard or, countertop somewhere in your kitchen. This is what it looks like after they're fermented. As you can see here in the jar, it is a little bit cloudy, and that's totally normal. These are really good, like I said, if you have them sliced up and toss them on top of a stir fry after you've cooked it so that it doesn't cook out the probiotics. But again, just takes about 2 weeks, 5 minutes to prep, and it's so delicious. Make sure you check out some of these other videos I have here linked if you're interested in making fermented foods. These are some really fun recipes that are also really beginner friendly for you to try. Thanks so much for watching, you guys.